Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another episode, actually the 9th episode of Ask Your Aviator web series. We'd like to welcome you as you join us today on this exciting episode where we're going to learn how entrepreneurship and exploitation of modern technology, specifically unmanned aircraft systems, drones, is taking shape in Kenya with the enabling environment created by the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority. In 2017, the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority published what we called then the remotely piloted aircraft systems regulations that were meant to bring a regulatory environment that would manage drone operations in Kenya. However, unfortunately, these were annulled by Parliament. In 2020, we were able to publish the Unmanned Aircraft System Regulations 2020, and closely followed by the Fees and Charges Regulations in 2021, which then ushered in an environment where drone exploitation could easily be undertaken legally by Kenyans, and to tap into that potential of the creative and innovative section of the economy. So today we are going to delve into the use of drones, and we will be able to see how drones are being exploited in Kenya to build the economy and to advance economic development in the country. But before we do that, let's first of all listen to the Director General of Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, Captain Gilbert Kibe.
Hello everybody, my name is Captain Gilbert Kibe, the Director General of Kenya Civil Aviation Authority. And I'd like to welcome you to this exciting and educative program, the 9th episode of Ask Your Aviator series that we have been conducting. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about the regulations that are governing the use of drones in this country. So I would like to invite you to get to know what our regulations are saying, how we are making charges and fees for the use of drones. But also to make it easy for you, we have developed an online platform known as the RPAS Oversight Management System, or ROMS. You will find it in our website under the e-services. Click on it, you'll be able to register yourself with us. You can be able to apply for an import permit for a drone, and you can also apply for the use of a drone. And of course, the use of drones are so many and varied. You can shoot weddings, you can shoot movies, documentaries, sporting events, etc. But you can also use it professionally for research, precision agriculture, wildlife conservation, and even delivery of things like medicines, and even fast-moving goods like takeaways can also be delivered by drones. So this is a very, very exciting moment and a period in the growth and development of civil aviation in Kenya. And I invite you to join the drone space so that you can ensure safe and secure drone operations in this country. So I hope you enjoy this episode and find it useful and very, very educative.
You've heard from the Director General. Kenya Civil Aviation Authority is ready and willing to facilitate safe and secure exploitation of drone operations in Kenya. To allow us understand the drone operations in Kenya, I'll be going through the categorization of drone operations as provided for in the Civil Aviation Unmanned Aircraft System Regulations. We have come up with a system where we categorize drone operations based on risk. Okay? So we have low risk, medium risk, and high risk operations that have been categorized in the regulations. And the philosophy behind drone operations revolve around accommodation, entertainment, and engagement. That means we can either accommodate the drone operations, we can entertain the drone operations, or we can integrate the drone operations. So the regulations provide for 3 categories: category A, B, and C. So category A is the low risk operations, where we provide for segregated airspaces, an airspace where nothing else other than that operation takes place, and this then keeps the drone away from conventional traffic and allows us to achieve a safe and secure operation for that kind of activity. Then there is category B, where we entertain the drone operations. How do we go about this? We then give the drone operations certain conditions and limitations that allow them to share the airspace with other conventional aircraft operations. Of course, by complying with these conditions and limitations, then we minimize the risks that these drone operations pose on conventional air traffic. And the third category, where we integrate the drone operations into the conventional operations, is where we require these drones in category C to be suitably equipped, to be manned by pilots or persons who have been trained and have the requisite qualifications and ratings for the equipment, and also require that these equipment are conducted or operated in a manner consistent with rules of the air. And that then is the highest category of drone operations in Kenya. To allow us understand better how drone operations are working in Kenya, today we are at DroneSpace. DroneSpace is a certified unmanned aircraft training system organization, otherwise known as UTO, and also a certified remote aircraft operator certificate holder, that is an ROC. So we are joined by Tony from DroneSpace, who will introduce himself and give us a brief overview. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you. My name is Tony Mwangi, and I'm the accountable manager of DroneSpace Training Organization based in Westlands, Nairobi. We have our course which runs for 2 weeks, and within those 2 weeks, the first week is theory week, which takes 5 days. And of course, the students have to go through the 9 modules that we have. And of course, before we go to the practical, as per KCA regulations, they have to sit for an exam, which they have to get at least 70% as the pass rate. Once they get to the practical area, they have to do 5 hours, again, based on the KCA regulations. Then they get a letter of recommendation based on their competence. Once the students get their letter of recommendation, then they have to face the designated flight examiner who's going to check them out. Once that is done, then DroneSpace puts their paperwork together and sends it to KCA for the remote pilot license. With that, let me take you through our classes.
Thank you.
Let's go. Yeah, let me show you around the classrooms.
Okay, this is a good facility.
Yeah, this is where we conduct all our drone training, theory part only.
Okay.
Yeah, and let me show you from the class that we actually we are able to accommodate many people.
Okay.
So you can go in.
Thank you.
Okay, so with this class, we can accommodate 14 students at any one time. And as you can see, we have all the Ministry of Health protocols in place. And of course, it's well lit.
Adequate facilities, looks good for the kind of training you guys undertake.
Thank you. If you may allow me to show you the other classrooms.
Okay,
Come
please.
with me, please. Then let me show you this other classroom.
Okay.
Yeah, this classroom holds fewer people. This is also another classroom.
This is more cozy.
It's more cozy. Yeah, so with this classroom, it's able to hold 6 students at any one time.
Okay.
Yeah, adhering to the Ministry of Health protocols.
Oh, yes.
So basically this is it, and as you can see, same facilities, but on this other side, we have a TV screen.
Okay.
And of course, we still have our whiteboard. Yeah. So this is our 4th class. Still has the same facilities.
Since you started drone pilot training, what kind of response are you getting from Kenyans in terms of uptaking drone pilot training?
Started slowly because we started running our classes in December 2020. We actually started with 8 students.
Wow, that's a good number.
That was a very good number.
Yeah.
Then of course, come January, of course the numbers dipped. And of course, one of the things was most of the people never knew that the regulation had actually been promulgated.
Oh.
And of course, with that, most of the people were very skeptical. Then, of course, moving forward, some of the comments that we got from people is KCA needed to sensitize people on the regulations.
We will be taking up the challenge Tony has posed us to roll out a sensitization program that would see the general public become aware of the regulatory provisions and what they need to do if they need to uptake drone operations. What informs your curriculum as a training organization?
Our training curriculum is based on the KCA regulations. We have 9 modules that we train. 8 are mandatory But the one which is radio telephony, which is more of a bonus, of course, it's going to be needed later on, especially if you're going to do category C.
Yes.
But for category A and B, you don't need radio telephony.
I know as we talk, a lot of people are interested on a career in drone operations and that kind of a scenario. What would you tell the general public and even some of the people who would want to go into investments in terms of drone technology? What are some of the opportunities that people would look at? Because once people understand where they can get opportunities, then we will be able to see a better and higher uptake of drone technology.
The opportunities in drone technology are immense. They are limitless. And one of the things that especially we encourage our students who come to drone space is they should not just look at webbings or mapping. There's so many opportunities. We have aerial spraying where you can actually monitor your crops. You can also do aerial spraying on your crops. We have delivery of, it could be medicine. Of course, we know that most of the people like doing filming and photography, which is really good. Actually, that can make you some good money. We also have mapping. And other than that, we also have inspection, especially building inspection. We have construction. And these are some of the things that people need to tap into.
We've heard of people who are able to kind of put together drone technology and artificial intelligence so that they're able to come up with the solution to daily problems such as traffic congestions, where the drones can be used to patrol the roads. Using AI, they can be able to sense where the traffic gridlock is and that kind of a solution. I don't know what you talk to, particularly government entities or even county governments, on what they would be able to see in drone technology as a solution to some of the problems they are facing. We talk about things like population monitoring, even appreciating how crops are doing in a general agricultural area with regard to using drones. What would be your comment on that?
In my opinion, I think we need to throw it to KCA, have a meeting with KCA, and of course, not me, but the people who actually want to do that particular tech, and throw it to KCA, and maybe KCA can act on behalf and tell them that actually this is a good thing. However, that might not work because it could be a tender process. So with a tender process, it's open. You cannot talk on behalf of anybody. So.
I agree with you, but I think we take up the challenge. The fact that the general public and those who would like to venture into drone operations need to be more innovative, look at the daily challenges that the world is facing, come up with solutions that drones can be utilized to solve these challenges. And like the Director General said in his message, we at KCA are willing to listen and facilitate whatever application that might be required, and also support in ensuring that that application is executed in a safe and secure manner. Tony, there's something that I have to pass by you. You know, today's generation is very versatile. They learn fast. They do some of these things very fast. Manipulation of this equipment is not a big problem to them. What do you tell those among us who, for example, would like to operate their drones without basic training, without an understanding of the requirements? What are some of the risks they run? Forget about even the enforcement risks from the authority, but what are some of the risks they run on their personal level in terms of operating these drones without the benefit of solid training like the one you offer at Drone Space?
As they say in Kenya, the law is very clear. Having said that, it's very important because we've had many guys who've been flying drones for the past 5 years. But the moment they come to class and go to the practical field, it's a totally different ballgame. They're like, okay, we never thought that you are supposed to do this. And you know, all these things are procedures.
Yes.
Of course, they find it very difficult to actually come to a class because it's not cheap. I think it's very important to come for training so that you can actually, one, you'll become a professional.
Yes.
Secondly, of course, you're going to get a skill. And of course, at drone space, there's something else that you live with. I'll leave it to you.
I'm sure. So like Tony has said, it is important, before you operate a drone, have the requisite training as prescribed by the regulations. It is safe for you and for the other person with whom you share the airspace. So at KCA, we encourage those who would like to operate drones to take up formal training to appreciate, number one, the aviation environment within which you're beginning to play as a drone operator. And number two, to also appreciate the safety culture with which the aviation environment is run. Hey, Jeffrey.
How are you?
Yes, how are you?
Good.
Yeah.
Welcome. This is Astral Aerial Solutions.
This is your base?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is where we base all our operations, all our planning, and also training in these premises.
Good. It's a beautiful facility.
Yeah, we're excited to have you here to show you around, and also so that yourself and our viewers can also see what is going on in our operations training and other matters relating to drones.
Good. So, shall we?
Yeah, please, let's proceed.
Okay.
So welcome, Lawrence. This is Astral Aerial Solutions. My name is Geoffrey Nyaga, and I'm the current head of operations.
Okay.
And this is where we show the different types of drones that we operate for various use cases. And I'm excited to have you here as our guest and for the discussion that is going to ensue. Welcome, karibu sana.
Thank you very much. Viewers, we are at Astral Aerial. Astral Aerial is one of the licensed training organizations as well as an operator of remotely piloted aircraft systems, or unmanned aircraft systems, as you may call them. And today we are privileged to have a conversation with Geoffrey, who is the operations manager. Geoffrey, probably just to start off, I can see your drones have various marks on them.
Yeah.
Probably you can explain to our viewers what these are.
The markings that we are seeing on the drone with black letters with a yellow background.
Yes.
This is actually the required means that the civil aviation has mandated for registration of the drone. So each drone now in operation in the country should have a license plate, the similar way the borders or the cars have similar plates. So, and I'm actually quite excited. So for example, this drone is 5 Yankee 001A, and this is actually the first drone to ever get registered in the country for civilian use cases.
That's pretty interesting. So which means the drones you have, or the drones you operate, have been registered in accordance with Civil Aviation and Manned Aircraft System regulations.
Exactly.
So tell me, you are a licensed unmanned aircraft system training organization as well as a remote aircraft operator.
Yeah.
What has been your experience? Walk us through your experience through this process that you went through to be given those certificates to operate.
As a company, I wouldn't even call it a process. I think this has been a journey for us because this is something that we started probably 3, 4, 5 years ago. And so as a company, we're excited that first of all, this is now a process that has been proven to be foolproof. We've worked with various stakeholders, and civil aviation being majorly one of it, all the way from the regulations, the inception, the drafting, the approval now to the registration of the drones. And at the moment, we are excited as a company that now this process is coming here to actually help us in our operations. It has been a smooth process. And on a personal level, I was very excited that the civil aviation engaged us as stakeholders to participate in the process. So it's not something we look from the outside. And now I'm excited that actually the process that the civil aviation has set, I believe, is going to be one of the best processes for drone registration and approvals across Africa.
Good stuff. So in your experience, then it means that the unmanned aircraft system regulations that have been established by the CA actually work.
Yeah.
And you've been able to walk through the processes, be licensed as a training entity, and also be licensed as a service provider.
Yeah.
So as a training entity, tell us what type of trainings do you offer and how do you go about them? Probably for the benefit of our viewers, they would like to know what kind of training that is available and how you go about it.
So we offer 3 tiers of training. One is what we call basic training or RPL training, which means remote pilot license. And that is the entry-level training that anybody requires for you to operate drones commercially as a pilot. That is a 2-week course. And then on top of that, now the second tier of training is what we call advanced or specialized training. That is something like beyond your line of sight for people who want to fly far distances. Let's say you're in conservation or wildlife monitoring. Then the third tier of training is now instructors training. Now for those people or Kenyans who would like to go ahead and train other people.
Earlier on, we had told our viewers about the categorization of drones, and I think what you've talked about as the second tier of training, beyond visual line of sight, is the kind of training that would go into a person who would like to operate under category C,
Yes.
where you have much more sophisticated equipment that can comply with the rules of the air and share the airspace with conventional aircraft.
Yes.
Interesting as perspective, you talked about instructors.
Yes.
So apart from training drone pilots, you are also building capacity for instructional capacity within the country,
Yes.
where we can have people in the country who are able now to carry on the training mandate.
Yes.
Have you so far been able to put out any of the instructors in terms of qualification, or it's still work in progress?
It's something that we are currently actually working on, and we expect the first of the instructors to come out in a month's time. And so, and I also concur with you, but one of the pieces of the puzzle we need to solve, not only as companies but also as government, civil aviation, other stakeholders, is capacity building.
Yes.
Because without the approved personnel and the syllabuses for people to understand how these systems work and to comply, as you said, with the rules of the air and other airspace rules, training needs to be an integral part of it. And part of that process is actually having instructors who can then go ahead and build more capacities across the country.
In your take on the whole thing is that the need to develop instructional capacity within the country is much more needed now than ever, as we begin the journey towards full implementation of unmanned aircraft system regulations. You also are a licensed remote air operator.
Yes.
And from my discussions earlier, I gathered that you are the first remote air operator certificate. What does that mean to you guys?
That was quite an achievement for us as a company, because not only did it come to solve the visions we had with the technology and what we want to do with the technology in the country, but it also came, I think, at an interesting juncture where we as a company we were looking at what big of an impact can we make with this technology. So the two things that came for us was, first of all, is the both economic and social impact that our drones are going to bring. Social impact, we're already seeing the amount of people, maybe through training or even like now for the farmers we are spraying with, the impact that they are having on an economic level. But on a social level, it's also the amount of jobs that now the technology has come to bring.
Talking about the economic impact, what are some of the solutions you offer? You've talked about farmers and spraying, and I think you'll walk us through that, the equipment that is used to do that. What other services do you offer from that farming and spraying?
So if you look at it like on 3 major categories, we are now heavily into agriculture, and that is both spraying, which is this drone I'll show you later, but also crop health mapping, which we use similar systems to map crop health for farmers, and we're able to intelligently tell farmers which parts of their farm are not doing okay. We are also doing surveying and mapping, and that now includes multi-industry approach. So if you look at roads, if you look at energy utilities, power line and that kind of stuff. And the third, perhaps what traditionally we were planning from the beginning is now will come on the delivery side, which we aim to do in the coming months.
Anybody you talk to and mention a drone, the first thing they see are drones at weddings and social functions taking videos. So that is one solution that we've seen that is very common, but you're coming in the unique package. A unique package that mostly focuses on practical application, offering solutions to daily problems for people. For example, walk me through this drone that you use for farming support and that kind of a situation.
So perhaps the best example I can use is this drone. This drone is used primarily to spray.
What make is this drone? You know, first of all, probably our viewers need to know, do these things come with makes like vehicles, or are they all called drones?
Yeah. So this is a multi-copter drone. Specifically, it's called a hexacopter because it has 6 of these propellers. So you can see the 6 of them.
Okay.
What you're seeing underneath each is a nozzle. So that means we put agrochemicals on the tank, and the drone flies over the field and actually sprays the crop. The reason this has been quite a success for us is because at the moment we are able to spray up to 16 times faster than manual spraying, which is also a bit hazardous in terms of health, and up to 3 to 5 times faster than even normal tractors that used to spray. So if you combine that with the fact that the drone is even more cost effective, you don't waste your chemicals, and it's quite intelligent in the application. So we've seen that sharp uptake. So this drone is battery powered, and that goes a long way for using clean energy, because especially if you're looking at spraying crops, it wouldn't make sense for you to use gasoline. We are able to spray up to 20 acres in 1 hour. That's conservative. Sometimes we can push it to 30. But perhaps even the most exciting thing about this drone, what we've seen in the past, is apart from spraying crops, we've seen it have multi-role capabilities, where we've now even started helping other agencies in fighting natural disasters like the locust outbreak.
So this could be used to spray pesticides that can get rid of the locust?
Yes.
What are some of the projects you have engaged in with this kind of equipment?
So specifically for spraying, I think the main 2 projects that come to my mind is the locust spraying. And we've had the privilege of doing that not only in Kenya, but we've also been asked by foreign governments, specifically Ethiopia, to go and help them in the locust outbreak control with the large swarms that were coming from Somalia. Locally, we've traversed the country. We've offered this service to about half of the counties in the country. And the most interesting thing we've seen in terms of uptake, I think what makes us as Kenyans very unique, not only as a people but also as a country, is the sheer amount of interest we've received, even from smallholder farmers and our people like our parents back in the village, where they see the benefits of the drone. And because as a country and as a people we have that high uptake and adoption of of not only just drone technology but other technologies, we've seen this exponential growth in the amount of demand that is coming from people wanting to use the technology.
Beautiful. There's a drone behind you, a much more smaller drone.
Yes.
I can see its registration number is 5 Yankee 0092A.
Yeah.
Tell me, what are some of the applications this drone can be used for?
Okay, so perhaps I can just show you. So this, of course, in comparison with this, is much smaller scale. This drone is less than a kilo. This drone is 32 kilos when it's full weight, so it's quite heavy. So these drones, what we do is that we fly, it has 2 primary purposes. We can use it for crop health mapping with a special sensor. And we can also use it now to map infrastructure like roads or construction and other use cases. So this is primarily used for mapping and taking aerial images that can be used by engineering companies, construction companies, or even inspection companies to look at data. Yeah.
So what make is this?
So this is called a DJI Phantom 4 RTK. You can see this module here on the top. It means it's very high precise GPS location, which is needed, especially if you're looking at centimeter level accuracies in construction or even high level construction that happen. For example, now like the highway that is being constructed, if you want a high grade, survey grade results, this is the type of drone you use.
What you're telling me is that this drone is capable of not only doing for you surveying and mapping and taking images that can be used to give solutions, but they also have a high level of accuracy in terms of what they deliver.
Yeah. You are looking at sub-centimeter accuracy in terms of GPS. So just to give you a perspective, like your phone, when you're using GPS, has like a 5-meter offset.
Yes.
This one we can get results up to less than a centimeter, millimeter accuracy in terms of GPS. So for those guys who are doing like construction and tracking the build of roads, or even buildings, or even asset utilities, when you're measuring cracks, when you're doing inspection, let's say on a windmill or something, this is the drone to use, and this is the proven technology and the platform to use.
Tell me something. What is the uptake in terms of, people showing interest in shifting from traditional surveying and mapping methods to what you guys offer?
So as I said earlier, we've seen it's actually been an exponential in terms of uptake and demand for that. Because for a lot of people, as long as they've seen the cost benefit, how fast it is, how accurate it is, and how much it saves them on labor. So it has been quite instant in terms of adoption. So especially in agriculture, at the moment we've served 2,500 farmers in Kiambu for mapping, and these are smallholder farmers. These are farmers with less than 1 acre.
Oh,
we've done about 1,000 in Machakos, and very soon we are moving to Narok to do for potentially 1,500. So as I said, as long as the Kenyans have seen the cost saving, how fast it is, how accurate it is, how much work is going to reduce, the natural uptake for the technology has been there.
So apart from training and service provision, you also have another product or another service you offer in the industry with regard to drones, apart from training and service provision?
Yes, actually that's a good question. So the third tier or the business vertical we have is in drone resale. And so what you're seeing behind me are drones that we offer to resell to potential clients who want to operate the drones. Wow. And so the drones that we'll see around that are not registered, perhaps we'll see one around, those are drones that then we resell to people. Now, how we are coming in as a solution is, instead of people going to buy drones off Amazon or some site that you cannot trust and have issues to come and register, we actually sell to you the drone, and we also help the clients in the registration process for the drone to make sure that the drone is not only airworthy, not only has it been approved by the government, but it also conforms to the requirements that are needed for the operation that the client wants. So we come as an end-to-end solution. We just don't sell you, but we also help you with the registration process.
So it means you work jointly with the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority to ensure that not only are drones available in Kenya, but they are also available legally, and you also support the people who buy drones in terms of being able to register the drones and get them in their hands the right way.
Yes.
So that's very important, because a lot of people, for example, have raised concerns about how difficult it is to obtain or get a drone in Kenya and register it. I mean, what would be your response to that?
So what I've seen is a disconnect. It has been purely majority of people not understanding, first of all, the requirements that are needed, not understanding the actual process that is needed, and also not understanding actually the technology that they need. So we've seen some people, starting with the last one, where they want to do mapping, but they don't even know the exact type of drone they want. So part of what the solution we're bringing is telling you, okay, if you want to do mapping, don't buy this, buy this. Then in terms of people not understanding the regulatory process, part of us educating them before they buy is telling them, okay, if you need this drone and you want to operate, before we sell you, you need something called an RPL. So we guide them to a school of their choice. We tell them, okay, you need operational manuals. Then we guide them on all the things that they need. So, and for majority of the clients we've got, and even people who've passed through the school, once they understand the system, once they do the training, they now understand why we need the processes and where they are not seeing the clear picture. So
basically it's about us being able to go out there and familiarize, or rather sensitize the public with the requirements, and also urge our viewers, if you need any more information about the requirements for drone operations in Kenya, please access the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority website, www.kcaa.or.ke, or you can get in touch with us on our social media handles and ask for any information that might help you understand further and be able to operate like Astral Aerial, who seem to have mastered the art of complying with the regulations and getting their drones in the right format. Astral Aerial has a parent company of Astral Aviation, which is renowned for its cargo transport across the world, recently acquiring a Boeing 767 freighter. How do you integrate? Because you talked about the third tier of your service level going into delivery. So how do you want to marry what you are doing as Astral Aerial vis-a-vis what Astral Aviation is doing in cargo delivery.
Yes, so as a company and looking back at history where we come from, air cargo industry, and so that was the basis of us starting the company, where we looked at the shortcomings of the manned aviation and looking what the future was bringing. And we saw that the future was pointing towards autonomy and autonomous operations. Now, our plan is, we've seen traditionally that even the big aircraft, they do not get to the last person. So yes, the aircraft can come and land at an airport, go to a smaller airport, but there's still a huge gap from the last point where the aircraft lands to those goods getting to the end consumer. And so this is where the drone operations come from. So where that Boeing 767 or 747 lands, we can have other drones that can take the goods from there, directly from the airport to the last mile.
So you're looking at probably covering the end-to-end process, covering from what you deliver with the aircraft up to last mile delivery to the end user. That's a very important key. Having looked at the equipment that you have in these establishment and the equipment that you operate, it immediately follows that these are not very cheap equipment.
Exactly.
I know the regulations require insurance. Maybe tell us your experience with the requirement for insurance and how you've been able to encounter the insurance around drone operations. So
as a company, we've actually come to see that insurance will be one of the main pillars of anybody trying to operate drones in the country. If you look at training, the manuals, and other safety procedures, insurance becomes an integral key. And perhaps learning from experience, one of the incidences we had earlier on last year was one of our sprayer drones during a locust mission, a locust spraying mission. We actually lost one of the motors and the drone came down.
Ooh.
So at that point, we were lucky enough that we actually had insurance to cover for that, because now if you look at the cost of the drone, or God forbid there was any third party or you damage somebody's property or a car. So insurance is something that we will insist heavily for people to consider, and it's now we are happy that it's mandated by the regulations to have that. And it's important because of also the immense cost that comes attached to the drones for operation.
So that's a very good experience, because the law requires for third-party liability insurance at a minimum.
At a minimum.
So you guys covered yourselves beyond that, and you are able to be a comprehensive insurance.
Exactly.
That is very good. Now, there is an interest in financial institutions.
Yeah.
Or some financial institutions are beginning to look at drone operations with a keen eye. What would be your advice to financial institutions or financiers who would want to get into supporting drone technology investments and that kind of a thing?
The advice I'll give them is that in the short space of time that since the regulations have been approved and approval has been given to companies, I believe that for a lot of us companies, we've proven that the drone operations can be a self-sustaining business. There's demand there, and it's actually exponentially growing. And so, as long as there's the right company that has the right approvals, I think it's something that I'll advise financial institutions to look at. And there's also endless possibilities that are coming up. For example, there's a lot of young people that are coming into training that perhaps cannot even afford the training at the first go. And so even them, they can also come in to also give support even for those students so that they can finance. But the possibilities there are endless, and this business has proven itself to be self-sustaining. But the most important is that it's also scaling. So we are not stuck at the same point, but the businesses are scaling.
So the fact that there is opportunity in supporting training, there is opportunity in supporting activities related to other economic sectors. For example, the farming and the agricultural sector, the construction sector, the energy sector, there is that opportunity. And again, it's growing.
It's growing.
So that's a very good reassurance to financial institutions and financiers who would like to get into these and build the drone sector as an economic entity. That is a very good opportunity. So finally, tell me, you have demonstrated to us what Astral Aerial is doing in terms of training, in terms of business solutions like agricultural solutions, and in terms of being a reseller of some of these equipment, what does the future hold for Astral Aviation? What other areas are you seeing on the horizon?
So I think I'll try to look at it from a personal perspective, also as from a business perspective as a company, but also look at it on a national level. As an industry, we are still making the first baby steps, so it's still early stages. But as a company, we believe that the future is pointing towards a lot more use cases that we've not explored. And a good case example is humanitarian disaster response, for example. We've had incidences, for example, where a dam has burst its banks, there are people trapped, and there's need for search and rescue. And that's where solutions such as this drone can come to help us in those situations. But also looking at it from a company perspective, one of the reasons as to why we founded the company was the vision we had that the future of aviation is pointing towards autonomous technologies, and that's where the drones come in. But also, if I look at it as a young person, as a young Kenyan, as Kenyan, as Africa, we've watched the first industrial revolution, our forefathers, the second and the third. And here we are in an interesting intersection where now we are in the fourth industrial revolution. And we've just made it to the party. The other ones who are left behind were just sort of catching up. Even the internet age, we just sort of caught up. But here is an opportunity we have as young people, as Kenyans. We are early to the party, and we are at the same sort of initial stages as everyone else in the world. And I think as African countries, we've proven that the more we adopt this technology, the more we innovate, whether it's in deliveries, blood deliveries, in healthcare, in agriculture. I think we can be a model where other countries across the world can come and learn from us, learn from our civil aviation and the standards and the impacts we are going to make, both at an economic level, as a social level, in terms of job creation, and also expanding this to an industry that has a positive impact to the country.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey. As you've heard from Jeffrey, Kenya is one of the countries that I think is early in terms of developing national regulatory framework for unmanned aircraft systems. So we've kind of opened up the space for our young people, for our entrepreneurs, for our innovators, to begin to be able to exploit this technology in the same space as those from developed entities. So drone technology is here, the regulations are here, the Civil Aviation Authority is ready and available to facilitate exploitation of this technology for economic growth, job creation, and social well-being of the country at large. So thank you very much, Jeffrey, for your kind assistance and showing us around. Maybe you'll just walk us through, explain some of the features of some of these equipment you have here for the benefit of our viewers who might be interested. As you said, you are a reseller. Somebody might just walk up and snap one of these beautiful machines here.
I'll just explain these two drones that we have. This is called a DJI Matrice 300. This is a enterprise level drone. That means it's mainly used for activities such as power line inspection, if you're looking at wind turbine inspection, solar panel inspection, wildlife conservation, or any other enterprise work that is needed for engineering companies. So the unique features of this drone is that we are able to carry multiple payloads for different types of work that you're doing. It has electromagnetic shielding. That means it cannot be interfered with within issues like power line interference. But perhaps the most unique thing is that it can fly for up to 55 minutes, which is unheard of, especially when it comes to the multi-rotors. So this is the platform that we recommend for all our enterprise clients because of the unique advantages of the longer flight time. You can be able to fly with two pilots, with two controllers at different locations. And also the other safety features that are inside the drone that are in compliance with the civil aviation. So for example, this drone also has a transponder. That means you can be able to see other aircrafts, and other aircrafts can be able to see you in the area that you're flying. And so this drone can be able to unlock the Class C operations that we earlier talked about with Lawrence, about you being able to fly in restricted airspaces because it has a transponder. The second drone that I'm excited to show you here today is what has really come to disrupt the way we do agriculture, and this is this DJI Phantom 4 precision farming drone. The unique quality of this drone is that we have 6 sensors, what you are able to see here. And with this drone, we are able to precisely map the crop health of all the farms. To put it in perspective, we can accurately tell you in each farm which individual plants are not doing okay. And we are able to detect issues like weed, crop stress, or even early detection of pests and diseases way in advance before you can see them with the naked eye. And so this drone, the DJI Phantom 4 precision agriculture drone, is what we recommend for precision farming and also mapping for crop health analysis. And so with that brings me to the end of the 2 drones that we are showcasing, and we are always available here to help any person who is interested in purchasing drones, to walk you through the process, to explain you what is needed, and we can help you get the approvals for registration of the drone, as well as quality purchase of all the systems.
So Tony, probably you take us through some of your practical training environment so that we can also appreciate the practical drone training environment and how it works.
Our training field is based in Sigona, and that is off the A104, Nairobi-Nakuru Highway.
Okay.
So with that, let's proceed to the field.
Thank you.
Lawrence, this is our Phantom 3 Pro, and just before we start our flight, we have to do a pre-flight check.
Okay.
And the procedures are, you have to start your checks with the exterior, and then after you've done your checks with the exterior, then you move to your interior, which is your battery compartment.
Okay.
All right, then, so we start from one end to the other, but since we are feeling the monocoque of the drone, we're just feeling to see whether there are any snags, any cracks on the body of the drone. Then, of course, come down to the sensors to ensure that there's no debris. Okay. We also have to check whether the screws are secured.
Okay.
Yeah, you can actually have a look. So
looks fine to me.
Everything looks fine. And once we've established that all that is okay, that is the exterior check, then now we move to the battery compartment. Yes. And with the battery compartment, you have to check whether there is any corrosion on the connection, on the terminals, and everything seems fine. Then lastly, on the drone, you actually have to come and check on the motors to ensure that there are no debris. There's no debris on the motors, and now you have to do this in a fluid motion. You have to start from one point to the next one. Yeah.
Okay.
So you start from this one, check to ensure that there's no debris.
Okay. It's clean?
It's clean?
Yes.
All right, then, that's good. So we have finished our pre-flight checks for the drone. Now we come to the propellers. For the propellers, again, we have to ensure that the propellers are smooth. You can actually feel, ensure that there are no cracks. And of course, cracks do interfere with the flight. Those ones are good.
Okay.
So once you do that, then you come and put the propellers.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So what you do is you actually look at the motor. Of course, you can see the propellers have a color code.
Yep.
And this is black. It's color code black. This is silver.
Silver.
Then of course we have black.
Black.
And silver. So you have to match the color code to the motor. So as you can see,
the motor has a black.
Yes, it has it's coded black.
Black marking.
Yeah, there's a black marking there. Yes. So you actually look at the propeller to actually see which direction you need to turn it once you place it into the motor. So as you can see, this shows it's locking that direction. That is anti-clockwise. Yes. So you just place it in there, and all you just need to do is just turn it. Make sure it's secure. Then
really simple.
It looks no doubt. Then you come to this other motor, and of course you check on the propeller to actually see the locking direction. And also don't forget that if we are doing anti-clockwise on this one, then automatically
The next one is clockwise.
it has to be clockwise.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So again, we just and ensure that your propeller is secure. Then of course you come to this other one, which is black on black. So black on this one was anti-clockwise. So this one will be anti-clockwise as well. I'll let you do the last motor.
I hope I do it right. Silver on silver.
Silver on silver.
And it goes clockwise.
Clockwise.
Uh-huh.
So once you do that, ensure that they're well fastened.
Okay.
All right then. So once you do that, then you come to your battery. Battery, ensure you check that it's charged. So all you just need to do is just press that once, and you're going to see the 4 bars.
So the 4 bars means we have full power.
We have full power there.
Okay.
Make sure you know which side of the terminal your battery is facing.
Right side, yeah.
Correct. Okay. And all you just need to do is just place it there and push it inside until you hear the clicking sound. Okay. So once that is done, then we come to our remote control. Ensure that your antennas are out. And one of the things that you have to do is to actually check whether it has power. All you just need to do is press that to actually see that it has full power.
Full power.
So so our remote control is fine, our drone is fine. You need to check on the mode. Now P is GPS, so that is it runs on it's going to fly on GPS. Then A is on ATI mode. And the ones that we use to train the students, first we start with GPS. Then we move to ATI mode once we feel that they're actually confident.
Okay.
Yeah, but today we're just going to fly on GPS just for demonstration purposes.
Okay.
Yeah, so what happens is you take your drone and we actually take it to the point at which we're going to take off from. So if you want to switch on the remote control, you press once and twice. One short and one long. All right then. So if you can see, there's a red light here.
Yes.
This light tells you that it's not connected to the drone.
So on, but not connected.
But not connected to the drone. So the moment we're going to switch on the drone, and you're actually going to see a color change. One short press and a long one. Okay, so our drone is on. So we just move to a safe place, at least safe distance of about 5 meters. What is happening right now is the drone is trying to calibrate. It has different colors, color codes, until it gets to green. That is the only time we can actually take off. And of course it shows that it's actually gotten its home point. So in the event of an emergency, if you press your home button, it'll actually come to that.
Automatically come back to that spot.
Exactly. If you want to start it, you bring the two controls towards the center, and you can see it. Yeah. And using the left control, you just push it forward and take off. Yeah. We have the 5 cones, and from these 5 cones, our exercises are basically based on these cones.
So it's some kind of proficiency on how to maneuver around the cones?
Yes. We'll just do one of the exercises that the students do. And this exercise is what we call a square box direction of flight. We are going to use these two controls, the right control, take it forward, or rather pitch forward. Then when you get to cone 2, we are going to use the yaw. The drone is going to yaw to the left, straight to cone 3. Once you get to cone 3, we are going to yaw to the left and straight to cone 4. Once you get to cone 4, we are going to yaw to the left just to close the square box. All right, then can we do this?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. It's right there. So that is our cone 1. So starting from cone 1, we're going to pitch forward using the right control. Nice and smooth. Right there. It has to be on top of cone 2. So once you get to cone 2, using the left control, you're just going to yaw to the left. So you're going to push your left control to the left. And you pitch forward using your right control. So once you get there to cone 3, you're going to use your left control to yaw to the left and straight to cone 4. Once you're on cone 4, then you're going to yaw to the left and you close the box. So that is one of the exercises that we actually train our students.
It doesn't look easy at all.
Yeah.
Manipulating this thing in the air, turning it around, getting it to move
Yeah.
in that direction can be a bit tricky.
Very true, very true.
So ladies and gentlemen, it has been a long and exciting day. We've managed to go through the drone space facility in Westlands. We were able to have a demonstration on how drone flight training is done. We would like to thank you very much for joining us on this exciting episode of Ask Your Aviator series. And we'd like to thank Drone Space and Tony in particular for being available and facilitating us through this entire series. As we call off the day, we'd like to ask you to engage with us on our KCA website, www.kcaa.or.ke, and on our social media handles that are available on the screen. And we look forward to hearing from you and engaging with you. And we hope that this episode has been able to excite something in you with regard to unmanned aircraft aviation. And we hope that those who are interested can take up unmanned aviation.